USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the founder of the Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101. And I'm the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. Today, I'm going to do some more questions that I found on other Facebook groups that seem to get very little interaction or no interaction at all. So I'm going to answer those questions. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys that I'm going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada this year, July 15th and 16th. I'm going to be a part of the Food Truck Owners Expo. I'm going to be giving 2 classes there. I'm going to be kicking off the campfire sessions, and then I'm going to be out on the expo floor where you guys can come join me in my National Street Food Vendors Association booth. You can ask questions, find out all about the association, and just hang out with us and have a generally good time. Again, July 15th and 16th, Las Vegas, Nevada. If you'd like to attend, go to FTOexpo.com, place the order for the tickets today, and when you do, put in the code FTTG15 for a 15% discount. So let's do some more of those questions. So one that gets asked pretty frequently, and I saw this one again last night as I was perusing other Facebook groups. Hey, food truck friends, what are you doing to keep your generator out of the rain? Do the covers that you can get on Amazon or Home Depot work fine for running? For you all. Somebody from the South. Thank you. So that particular question does get asked frequently, and there is a specific answer to it. And usually we get wrong answers. And this particular one had 2 wrong answers. Generators were built to be in the rain. No, they were not. If they were, they would not have the warnings in the owner's manuals that say, keep out of the rain. A lot of the lower end generators say specifically keep out of the rain. And then if they don't specifically say keep out of the rain, they will say not to operate in wet conditions. And they'll definitely say not to operate where the water pools around them. Now you would think that most people know that water and electricity don't mix. And they don't. But yet they will tell people, yeah, run the generator in the rain all the time. You're playing Russian roulette. And eventually that bullet is going to get in the chamber and go off. So you can't just set up in the rain and not worry about it. Care about your equipment. Figure out a way to get the thing protected from the rain. But do read your owner's manual and then follow it. They spent thousands of dollars to pay engineers to write those manuals to protect the consumer. Some of the protections they put in those are mandated by the federal government. And you would think that people would go, well, electricity and water just don't mix. And they don't. So when somebody says, yeah, I run it in the rain all the time, again, that's not proof that it's safe. That's proof that they don't understand that electricity and water don't mix. Next question. Okay, I am dazed and confused over here. I'm located in Georgia with my husband, and we were told in another group in Georgia they require a commissary kitchen. I don't know if this is true or not. If someone can please explain in detail what this is, thanks. Okay, so let's start with what is a commissary. And they have different names. Technically, Georgia calls it a home base. Other states call it a base of operations. Some of them call it a central processing facility. All different kinds of names. But at the very base of what a commissary is, it's a place for you to exchange water. Pick up fresh water, dump your wastewater. That's the bare minimum of a commissary. Now, some states go beyond that and require other activities to be held in the commissary. But again, the basic, and every state requires this in some way, shape, or form. Now, they don't necessarily call it a commissary, but there is no food truck out there that can create water. It has to have a tank. The tank has to be filled. It has to happen at a place that the health department can inspect, or at least they know the water's been tested. Now, there's some places where you can use your own water, but it has to be tested frequently. So again, the health department is being shown proof that the water you're getting is safe for human consumption. Okay, now if you don't want to call it a commissary, then don't call it a commissary. but it is still technically a commissary because you're getting something your food truck cannot sustain on its own. Then on the other side of that, you can't miraculously make your wastewater disappear. So you got to take it somewhere and dump it. It has to be somewhere legal. Health department wants to know that you're putting that wastewater down a drain that's supposed to accept wastewater. That's what a commissary does at its most base function. Now, there are states that require you to store your food there. You can't store anything on the food truck. They require you to do some food preparation there. Maybe, maybe not. So there are more things, more layers that get added on depending upon the state. But Georgia is one of those states where they do require the food be stored there, and you have your own little space. And you're the only person in and out of that little space, and the health inspector will come there and inspect your commissary and hold you responsible for things that are not correct, even though it's not your space. You're just renting it. But they're going to hold you responsible for if there's holes in the wall, if the ceiling has a hole in it, if the floors aren't correct. So whenever you have a question, obviously talk to people you know, other food truck owners, but then talk to the horse's mouth. Go to the state, go to the city, go to the county, and ask those officials. You'll get the right answers. Okay, next question. I am selling food. Well, you're a food truck. Way to go. I want to drink beer on my food truck. Is that legal? I'm not selling it. And also, am I able to give one to a customer every now and then if they request it? I live in Florida. Okay, if you're drinking on your food truck, I don't want your food. Pure and simple. There's a reason why they don't want you to drive while you're drinking. I don't want you cooking my food while you're drinking. If you can't go a few hours without drinking a beer, you have a serious problem, and you might want to get help for it. Can you give it away? No, you can't. There are specific rules in Florida that prohibit that. For example, it was a boat, actually, in Destin, Florida, and they wanted to encourage people to come buy their food. So they offered a free beer, because they were getting around the alcohol rules and regulations, if you come and buy food. Buy a burger, get a beer. They thought that was a way to avoid those rules. Well, it wasn't. You cannot give away alcohol if you're a business. You have to have the proper licensing. So if somebody comes up and sees you drinking a Budweiser and asks you for one, you cannot give it away. And if that stupid person needs a beer from you, and you just shouldn't be drinking on the job. I mean, how infantile is that? I would not trust anyone that's drinking on the job, because how do I know if that's the 1st or the 20th? Next question, do you have to have an LLC to have a food truck? The short answer is no, you do not have to have one. This one actually got answered, but most of the answers were wrong. So you don't have to have an LLC. An LLC is a state-level entity that separates you, the person, from the business you have just created, and you want that separation. The LLC makes it official. Here's the problem. Most people don't handle the LLC correctly. And how they don't handle the LLC correctly is in capitalization. And what that means is you have enough money for the business to sustain itself, instead of you putting in personal money. So having an LLC is not an ironclad separation. There has to be proof in how the money is handled. So for example, somebody gets sick and they go to sue you. The lawyer is going to put as many people as possible on that lawsuit as they can, and then ask the judge to sort out who is liable here and who is not. So if somebody gets sick from a hamburger you sold, for example, they're going to put on every condiment that is on that burger. So if you're using Heinz ketchup and you're using French's mustard and you're using local produce and you're using hamburger meat from Walmart and you're using buns from a bakery, all of those people are going to be on the lawsuit because they all got money, and certainly way more money than you got. And then the judge is going to have to sort out and say, well, no, French's isn't liable because, you're the one that bought French's mustard, and there's no known cases of French's mustard making people sick here recently, so we're going to throw them out. And they go through and throw them all out. And eventually it'll get down to being your business and you, because they're two separate entities. And then the judge is going to want to make sure there's a difference between you as a person, all of your personal assets, your home and your car and your clothing and all your furnishings and all that, and the business. So he's going to ask you some questions. Hey, Mr. Food Truck Owner, what happens when you don't have any money in your bank account and you need food for tomorrow? What do you do? And you're going to proudly say, well, I'll go out and buy food. Where's the money come from? The judge will ask. Oh, my bank account. So your personal bank account. Yes, sir. I make sure my business stays afloat. So you're proud of that action. And the judge goes, no problem, slams his gavel down and says, you and your personal assets as well as the business assets are now at risk in this lawsuit. Let's move forward, attorneys. The business has to be properly capitalized. If you are putting in personal money, the LLC protections melt away. And that's just one of the ways. So understand what you're getting yourself into. And don't just think because people on a Facebook group say, yeah, it separates you from the business. It only does if you actually have that separation. And the first clue you don't have separation is capitalization. So the next question is, a friend told me there's no money in food trucks. I think there's too many variables to make a blanket statement like that. Those of you in it already, what are your thoughts? Okay, so let's just analyze that piece by piece. They don't say that the friend owns a food truck. They just say that the friend said there's no money in food trucks. Why are you listening to somebody that doesn't already own a food truck? Why are you listening to somebody that failed as a food truck owner? Their opinion is already going to be tainted. So then on the other side of that coin is let's talk to people that own food trucks. Okay, that doesn't necessarily give you good advice either. There are many, many thousands of food trucks out there. Probably over 100,000 food trucks out there. We can only verify about 50,000 of them, but I'm quite certain there's well over 100,000, if not more. So here's the question. Is there money in it? Yes, there is. There's a whole bunch of money in it. But the real question is, can you handle that money and turn it into profit? So we have a whole bunch of top-line revenue coming in, but is it turning into profit for the owners? That's the real question here. Is there money in food trucks? Yes, there is money. But you got to know a little bit more about what you're doing. I'll give you two examples. Two people that I know very, very well, both very successful, and they are near opposites of each other, but they're both doing amazing. One has zero food experience, but he has a passion for a certain kind of food, and he's also got amazing business sense. Starts a food truck last year, just ended his first year anniversary, and is celebrating that first year anniversary by having bought another food truck to open in a different part of town. So he's expanding. The kind of sales that he's doing, and he's only open 5 days a week, will put many low-volume fast food restaurants to shame. He tells us every week what his sales are, and Melissa and I look at each other like, we've had restaurants not do that much sales. Restaurants open 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not doing the kind of sales he's doing. So is there money to be made? 100% there is, but you got to know what you're doing. He knows how to market, and he sells a great product. The other owner has extensive background as a chef for some very popular, very busy companies. He's in Orlando, Florida, so his experience includes the theme parks there. And having worked for them, you walk onto his food truck and you feel like you're walking onto a franchise. He's got the right equipment. He's got job aids everywhere. Literally, I could walk on his food truck with my limited experience at his cuisine and could probably reproduce it fairly closely because he has so many job aids everywhere. He is doing very well. He started a handful of years ago with one food truck. Now he's got 4. He's got 2 more concepts on the horizon, and then a whole nother business to support food trucks he's working on as well. There's money to be made, but it's not made by sitting on your hands, opening your window and going, where's all the people? Both of these food truck owners that I just mentioned, they market. They market differently, which is what is amazing, but they market. They got followers that come to their businesses every day. It's just all a matter of knowing what you're doing and then not accepting somebody that's not even in the business telling you there ain't no money in food trucks. One of the answers went through the failure rate of restaurants, and then somebody else debated that failure rate. Both of them were kind of wrong because there's so many caveats in why restaurants fail. But restaurants don't fail any more frequently than any other business out there. The actual top level failing business is construction. Because pretty much anybody that can pass a test in many states where they have licenses for somebody getting into construction. So they pass a test and they got a hammer. Now they're a construction company. And they fail. Fail frequently. They fail like 70% within the first couple of years. So that's the one you don't want to get into. Food service doesn't fail as frequently. But it just takes somebody knowing what the heck they're doing. One last question. I've decided to not even go on with the food trailer business. When you're doing everything literally by yourself, you get discouraged and it's really draining. I don't know if I'm asking the wrong people or what, but I am good on this. I'll just save my money for something else in life. Okay, you're on a food truck owners group and you're now just saying that they don't even want to go on. Well, just sell. You don't need to make a statement about it. You don't need to get other people's attention about it. If you don't like the business, get out of it. Life is too short for you to be doing something every single day that you don't like. So if you decide you don't like the food truck business, get out of it. Stop cooking. Cook for yourself and no one else. That's okay. You're allowed to change your mind. They don't even know if they're asking the wrong people. No, you're asking the right people. If you don't like the food service industry, if you don't like food trucking, get out of the business. It's okay. Doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make anything bad about you. It just means this business isn't for you. And it's not for everyone. If it was, there'd be 360 million food trucks in this country. It's okay. Just sell out and move on. Find something you love. Life is too short to not love what you do. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding everything helpful that we do, please consider subscribing. If you love what we do, show some support. There's a link in the description to make that happen. Until next time, you guys have a profitable week.